Okay. So for those who are not aware, we use WhatsApp as a means of communication. There's a number that appears on the screen. You can send your questions directly to me. So I will talk about today a little bit, just a little bit, about sacrifice. And we can go deeper on the subject if there are questions, important questions about it. Well, normal life, as it is called, human life, is sacrifice. Whatever you hold dear, to pursue it, to trying to get it, to maintain it, everything involves some sort of sacrifice. So whatever goal is there in your life, you will have to sacrifice eventually something to get there, because there will be a lot of things that come in your way. And the human normal life is full of sacrifices. In a sense, it's not really a sacrifice in its deepest meaning, because it is actually an investment, but that's another issue. I will not get into that. Not yet. So it's quite easy to understand. And you see this all the time. For love, for example, people tend to sacrifice families, jobs, whatever. For a career, people tend to sacrifice their family lives, the ones that are more closest to them. For family, people tend to sacrifice careers, jobs, opportunities. So everybody is sacrificing something for something else. And those sacrifices, they tend to reveal what values you hold as dearest, as the most dear in your heart. And it is those sacrifices that really reveal what is there and what is more important to you. The choices you make. Sometimes people are pursuing a career and that's the most important thing for them. But they reach the point that they see if they continue abstracting from everything else and just focusing on that career, they will lose their family environment, those who are more dear to them. And if they continue, they are revealing that that career is the most fundamental thing for them. And if they let go, they are revealing that family is that thing which is more fundamental for them. And they may say that to their bosses that, no, but this career, this opportunity, this is the most important thing for me. I will do anything to be successful. And they can go home and say, no, family is the most important thing. I will never leave you, and I will not let anything to go in the middle of this relationship. But in the end, it's what they really do that makes the difference. And all these things, they sometimes are full of difficult moments, full of pain, and it is in the hardest situations, that these things are more revealed. So if you look at human life, you see these situations over and over and over and over again. From small things, small sacrifices, to the biggest ones. And what is this sacrifice? Is that which you really hold dear for some reason. And whatever is kept is actually that which is dearest of all, dearest of all. So this is normal human life. So what about the life of the seeker of truth? In a normal life, it is full of sacrifices. In the life of the seeker of truth, which is not normal, that is an epic, would it be any less? Of course not. It's even much more. So as you try to grow spiritually, you will start to understand, to see that all things that you cherish, everything that you hold dear apart from the divine, will come in a way into a conflict. Distracting you, taking your focus. This is when you're really actually very focused, or trying to be. Not when you're dividing attention. This is not what I'm talking about. So maybe it's better to make this introduction. The seeker of truth and the seeker of well-being, they both have a basket. A basket for the most precious things. And the seeker of well-being is collecting things into the basket. And the seeker of truth is emptying the basket. It is different. So, if you're a seeker of truth, you will find from the most simple things to the most fundamental, and that means for the things that you give less importance but still give importance, to the things that you give most importance, everything will come in the way. Choices will have to be made. And usually, depending on the importance of it, suffering will be there. And the bigger the importance, the bigger the suffering. There's actually no absolute value in anything. It is relative value. Relative to your values. And this is what is revealing. So going through your quest for truth, whatever you find yourself, presently reveals the present values. It can change. It can grow, or it can reduce. It can evolve, or you can go back. Está algum problema aí? Concorda. So all these things, they are, even to the seeker of truth, a way for him to see clearly where he stands, for what he suffers, for what he is attached to. His attachments show to him the anchors that are holding him into that level of perception, into that level of reality. So the differences between the seeker of well-being, which is that normal person, either in just a worldly context or in a spiritual context, that walks with a basket and is collecting things to put in his basket. So he has collected some worldly flowers, and now he wants some divine flowers to make that basket better and better and better. The seeker of truth, he walks with that basket, and for him, no, my basket is empty already. It's already empty, there's nothing else there. I already gave up everything and sacrificed everything, nothing there. But eventually, as he continues to intensify his practices, he looks again to the basket, and there was nothing previously, but then something appears. Oh, this is here still. Still, or, oh, this is here, had no idea. And as he is able to solve that, to remove it, and he continues again with the same conviction, there's nothing there yet. And as he intensifies his practices, another thing reveals. His eyes are able to see because of the previous sacrifice. It opened the door that wasn't there. Eventually, as he goes through this, again and again, he starts to look at the basket, which appears to be empty, with a suspicious look. With the eyes that know that they are not seeing, but there's something there that needs to get thrown into the fire. There's this fundamental change in his attitude and in his perception. And even the quest of both of them is quite different, because the seeker of well-being is collecting things. It's not really for the divine, for God, for truth. It's for him to feel better. So his little tunings with these higher frequencies give him a feeling of good. Wow, nice. So that's it. For them it's over, because they found what they were looking for. And if they find something that removes them from this nice sensation, oh, it has to be wrong. As for the seeker of truth, he is for truth only, not for good sensations, not for nice feelings, not for that bath of higher vibrations. It is good, it is nice, but it's not the thing yet. So different mindsets, different attitudes, different decisions, they reveal the values inherent in both of them. So in a way, if there's no God realization or no self-realization, whatever is there, look around. Whatever is there is that which you really, really hold dear. This can give you an idea of how to move, what is happening. For those who are, of course, not distracted with time, but are really trying their level best in their own conception and feel that it's not moving, not growing. Understanding the mechanics of your own delusion, it is very important. Values are perception? Question. In a sense, yes. In a sense, values are, I'll say this, just wait a little bit. Let me find the better words to describe this in English. Values are, in the sense, the doors, the vibrational standards, and ultimately, vibration is what is perception. Did you understand what I was saying? I'm not sure. In a way, the values, they are the limits of your world, of your perception. But they are, in essence, they are vibration. The limits of vibration, of what is possible to perceive. Yeah. So yes, values are perception. And in that case, looking around and observing what is there around you, what circumstances are there, and what circumstances, according to higher values, it is a way for you to use your mind level best and try to make a way out of that situation. Situation means the values. So sacrifice can happen when you're confronted with a situation of choice, or it can also happen when you see the present values and the values that you aspire, and you can make something to start changing those values. And if it is something that is sincere, that takes time. Conflict will be there, pain will be there. And sacrifice, it's something that you cannot run away from. So for those who are in a worldly investment and they try to shift to a spiritual investment, they will have to sacrifice those worldly investments. Those who are pursuing with the spiritual investments, and they reach a point where that which they have to sacrifice to continue is more important, they are not able to sacrifice it, and they don't continue, they stop, well, they are sacrificing their path. It's inevitable. But that which you suffer from, that which you embrace in the end, reveals what is actually more dear to you. Is the meditation practice of a practice of sacrifice? Yes, it can be. It can be. But understand, at some level, everything starts as an investment. Until you get to sacrifice is that tipping point. Everything starts as an investment. And as you can maintain all these different aspects in your life, as you can conciliate them, it's not really sacrifice yet. Sacrifice comes when you're not able to maintain everything in the same place. For example, meditation. You can start meditation, and in a sense, you're for the whole, for God, for the divine. And eventually, you will have to leave some things behind because, well, you cannot sit and meditate and continue to do all the other things you were doing. Even if it is for that time that you are sitting, you're not doing anything else. But eventually, to increase it, to deepen your meditation, you will have to put things aside. And you will, to an extent, as it is manageable for you. But eventually, it will reach something which is really, really vital, that you believe it is vital for your existence, and that you cannot let it go. Either your meditation contains mild, or you sacrifice that to intensify it. Just an example. In that tipping point, through that pain, through that hardship, that is when sacrifice begins. And that is when investment changes into sacrifice. So in the beginning, there are lower sacrifices involved in meditation. Talking about meditation because it is the question that got here, but it's the same more or less. So you're sitting and the body is not used to, so there is pain in the body more or less. And you'll have to endure it to maintain stillness. There is sacrifice involved. Little bits of it. But then it reaches that tipping point. And that tipping point is either you leave something behind which is very dear to you, or that meditation stops. Stops or just continues in the mild way. In those tipping points, that is when sacrifice, the word sacrifice, comes alive. So any spiritual practice involves sacrifice. And there is even, sacrifice is a big word in spiritual philosophy. And wherever you start from, eventually, if you're sincere seeker, you will have to go through sacrifice again and again, and again and again, and again and again. And the intensity of these tipping points, the velocity that they come, that will depend on the thirst that you have, on the intensity you're putting into your spiritual practice. If the thirst is big, the intensity will be big, and these tipping points will succeed each other in a very fast way. And that is like, in that moment, that sacrifice was made. It's like a big fire that has gone up. And as they succeed again, it's like that fire is maintained constant, until there's nothing that pulls that fire down. So sacrifices in the spiritual path, they are about unrooting worldly values, and through the fire sacrifice, transforming them into spiritual values. And that means abiding with the divine, no matter what happens. and for the seeker of well-being. This account of this process, it is something dreadful. For the seeker of truth, difficulty is there because he's not a daydreamer, but it's the only thing that it's worth living for. Good morning. Are sacrifices always painful? Not always, not always, because you may have something which is dear to you, which is important, which is vital, and when you're resonating with these spiritual values, you can make use of it. How to explain this? You see, sacrifices, more or less, they involve a level of attachment from your part, of misunderstanding what is more important. And when you are in front of this tipping point, there's a choice. But when you know you could be asleep for a long time for this spiritual quest, but when you awaken to this spiritual quest and you understand that certain things doesn't make sense anymore, you can use them and apply and use them to maintain your spiritual efforts instead of to obstruct them. So the level of pain has to do with the level of blindness also involved. So not everything is painful. But eventually, there has to be something which will be very painful, or a few things that will be very painful. Because if there weren't, so no sacrifice was needed, and self-realization or God-realization would be there. So what is blocking your perception of truth? What is keeping you as you are? Make no mistake, it is vital for that character. And to break it, it will bring a lot of pain. But it doesn't mean that it is in all spheres, that everything is painful. No, there are things, seekers are not attached to everything, there are things that are solved inside of them, and they can use things as a sacrifice to enhance their quest, to support it. But eventually, those tipping moments, they will be painful. And pain is just a matter of perception. And that is what sacrifice is aiming to break. That perception which is limited by that value. Because if it is all in a way wholeheartedly, oh, I will sacrifice whatever comes, and is sacrificing, it may not mean that he's really sacrificing. sometimes that sacrifice is just an investment. Just giving a little bit to receive something much bigger. But that, with the sacrifices that are coming to the seeker's path, that will eventually be cleared. And that flame which is maintained will consume everything that is not suitable. And there's a sentence that is said that goes more or less like this. Hope for the best, be prepared for the worst. And this is something that has to be present, because if it's not that bad, good. But if it's more than that bad, good. It is what needs to be. And without that mindset, only hoping for the best, that is very difficult. Because you're limited. Your vision is limited. It's like you're in the labyrinth of your own beliefs. You cannot find the way out. And that labyrinth, that maze, it doesn't have a way out. The path is upwards, and that is through the fire of sacrifice. So if you're not prepared to embrace suffering, to go through hardships, well, even the path of devotion, which is the most sweetest path, they say, the basis is complete surrender. And in that complete surrender, there is suffering involved. At least in the beginning. Because the more you establish yourself in the arms of your beloved, the more that contact, that love, surpasses everything else, becomes more than everything else. But in the beginning, yes, a lot of pain will be there. And that is no problem, you see, because everything has a part. Everything, even that pain, that suffering, bears a special part in that quest for truth. All of it. Sometimes people ask, how can I avoid this discomfort in meditation? Well, I have to answer, but are you sure that that discomfort is meant to be avoided? It is there preparing you for the other things that are coming in your way. You need to grow because you're thirsty. So you will have to give big steps. And to give big steps, you need strong legs. For strong legs, those discomforts that are coming to you now, they are preparing you for that. Okay, my friend, I will answer your question now. So these are questions that were here previously. If you have questions about this sacrifice, because we can go much deeper into it, I'm talking just generally, you can send and I will answer after. Hello, Sriman. When I invest in consciousness, observing consciousness, a space without thought, calm and peace of mind remains. An impersonal side, on the other hand, a personal identity side remains. My presence, which observes my presence, knowing that I interrupt my investigation. I remain with my eyes closed in a 45-minute stages several times during the days. What advice would you give to transcend this? To transcend what? Of course, when you invest in that place of silence, peace remains, calm remains, the impersonal aspect. On the other hand, the personal identity side remains, of course. As you tune with that which is ever there, of course, this peace, calm will be there, and other things can be delight, can be ecstasy, can be divine, profound love. It can be many things. And that is what always is. It is this individual identity. This tuning is very good. And very good not for the sensations and feelings that the character derives from it. But in a way, that is occupying space in that individual character. So more of that, less of it, less of the individual character. But if it is tuning in a way to get that calm, that peace, those divine vibrations, it is in a way still feeding from it. So it is supporting itself there. And 45 minutes, it is a safe amount of time. It's like giving a dive. Oh, I'm breathing again. Little dive. Oh, I'm breathing again. No harm done. Of course, something's changing, yes. But that character is feeding on those divine waters and gets out of them to feed on those worldly waters. So it continues present, adapting, adapting, adapting. For sure, these sacrifices that I've been talking about previously, they're not a reality yet. You haven't gone through them intensely. Because when you go through them intensely, where do you come back to then? You're tuning into that silence. Consciousness, observing consciousness, whatever that means. Why don't you remain 45 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, 5 hours? Why isn't it continuous? Where do you go back to? You have somewhere to go back to. So for that, I recommend for you to listen from the beginning of the satsang, to pay attention to it, to look around at your life, where you're standing, apart from that silence. Where do you come back to? If you have somewhere to come back to, you'll get back to. So instead of, how do you say this, of complete focus, of complete surrender to that silence, of holding that uninterruptedly, you have somewhere to go back to. And you're going back to. So look around, whatever is there. That is what you are trading, that silence, that greatness, that impersonal. That is what you're trading it for. And you're just going there, taking a sip and going back to something. Which for now, it seems more important, because if you count those 45 minutes and you see the 45 minutes that you're tuning with the divine, and then you will look at how long you keep not tuning with the divine, and you will get a clear vision. So this has to be reversed. So you can make these observations and start getting to some conclusions and with specific actions. And as you're not doing that, as you're in that process of reflection, you can increase these 45 minutes to 2 hours straight. No interruptions. Because 45 minutes, it's very safe for this character. 45 minutes, 1 hour, things start to move a little bit. 2 hours is much better. And then you'll start seeing some differences. But these are two things: increasing to the level of 2 hours and looking around to the circumstances that you are. And that will give you a clear vision of what is where are you coming back to after those 45 minutes? Are you just a tourist into that silence? Or is that silence the most important thing for you? More important than the air that that body is breathing, than the life that is animating that body. And then you'll get a clear vision. And remember, basket is to make it empty, so that those 45 minutes, I'll make a rough comparison with going to the market. 45 minutes, it's more or less the time that you can spend in the market as you're shopping and filling your basket. So in which part are you a tourist? In your worldly life or in your spiritual life? Where do you spend the most time? So that change needs to happen. If you have more questions about this, well, you can send. Okay, my friend, I will answer your question now. Dear Sriman Narayana, thank you so much for taking my question. As King Janaka said, my dear Lord, something has been on my heart for a while. Humility is so wonderful, but how can I know if identifying with my divinity is more helpful for my growth and seva and ultimate liberation? I'm afraid to make mistakes because I don't want ever to be a little bit cruel, insincere, misled by desire or arrogant, but I feel deeply that this humility is also an attachment too, just a safety. Even this beautiful question feels insincere for me. Probably is. Just wait a little bit. Why is this stopped? Okay. Just a moment. Instagram. Okay. Just let's give some time for others to get in. I will read the question again so that it is available on Instagram. So, dear Sriman Narayana, thank you so much for taking my question. As King Janaka said, my dear Lord, something has been on my heart for a while. Humility is so wonderful, but how can I know if identifying with my divinity is more helpful for my growth and seva and ultimate liberation? I am afraid to make mistakes because I don't want ever to be a little bit cruel, insincere, misled by desire or arrogant, but I feel deeply that this humility is also an attachment too, just a safety. Even this beautiful question feels insincere for me. Yes. You see, when the mindset of the seeker is to use these what is called qualities of the seeker of truth in a way to support an image of a seeker of truth instead of giving birth to the seeker of truth, then these questions may arise. You see, because the goal is not to appear or to be the best human being. It is liberation. And this sense of arrogance, pride, and hurting others and doing all these things, this is a little bit confused. In a way, it is inevitable. You will never be able to please everybody. And everybody will have the vision which is possible for them of yourself. They will not see who you are. They will see what they can see. They will see what they want to see about you. But if this is something that is, how do you say this, important for you, this vision of others towards yourself, then it's not the highest value which is present there. And sometimes, whatever is dear, whatever is attachment to you, like even humility, not humility, because in itself humility is a humble state. And in that humble state, if you go deep and deeper on it, You will not even take credit for that which is being pointed out on you as arrogance or whatever. It is divine will. It is life just taking its own course. For the one who is arrogant and doesn't have humility, this is a concept that he can hold on to justify his actions. But again, this has nothing to do with outer evaluations. Either you're growing or you're stuck. Both cannot be there. And humbleness reaches a point that brings a lot of understandings about life. And there are different levels of humbleness. And the biggest one is following guidance, surrendering to guidance. It's not following your mindset and your ideas, it's following guidance. And whatever guidance is pointing, you surrender and you go, whatever that means. And if it means that you will appear at the eyes of others as arrogant, or if you'll hurt others or whatever, well, endure it. If it is causing you pain, endure it, trust and surrender. Because if you are holding on to what you think is humility, not causing harm to others, everything that was described, and you're holding on to it, because that image that the world has of you is still important. For sure, if you're administrating all different aspects of your life, for sure you'll be confronted with it. And you will be made to act in a way that it counters that which you hold dear. Because, as you pointed out, it is an attachment, a safety, and it has to be broken. Or not. If it breaks, you move forward. If it doesn't, you remain where you are. More or less. But the question is interesting. Humility is so wonderful, but how can I know if identifying with my divinity is more helpful for my growth and seva and the ultimate liberation? But how can you doubt of it? It is the only way. And there's only the fear of making mistakes when there is the belief in control, when you have goals of your own, when you think that things should be in a certain way apart from other ways. So when you're trying to control the process, these fears are there. When you're not, well, these fears don't have a place. Okay. So that's it for today. Next satsang will be Wednesday, 9 o'clock in the morning, Brazilian time, UTC -3. Until then, make the best use of your time. Make it real for you. Podes.